You know that feeling, don't you? That heavy, aching weight in your chest. The one that wakes you up at 3 a.m. The one that whispers in the quiet moments, reminding you of what you did, of who you hurt, of the choice you made that you can't unmake. It replays in your mind, over and over. That moment, that decision, that mistake. And no matter how much time passes, no matter what you do to make up for it, there's this voice inside that won't let you forget. That says you don't deserve peace. That says you should suffer. That says you can never be forgiven. And tonight, you're so tired. Tired of carrying this. Tired of punishing yourself. Tired of being at war with who you were. You came here because some part of you, some quiet, brave part, is wondering if maybe, just maybe, there's another way. Before we begin this journey together, just a quick moment. Write in the comments which part of this world you're listening from right now and what time it is where you are. I'm curious, are you listening in the quiet of late night when everyone else is asleep, but you're awake with your thoughts? Or perhaps in the early morning hours, when sleep hasn't come yet and you're searching for peace? Just leave a word or two, your city, your time, and then settle in. Because this time right now, is entirely yours. This is your moment, your space, your permission to finally, gently, begin to let yourself off the hook. Now, let yourself get comfortable. However you're positioned right now, just allow your body to settle a little more deeply into whatever is supporting you. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. Or, if keeping them open feels better right now, that's perfectly fine too. There's no right way to do this. Just notice where you are, in this moment, in this space that belongs only to you. Let's take a breath together. Nothing forced, nothing dramatic. Just a natural breath in and a slow, easy breath out. And with that exhale, you might notice your shoulders dropping just a little. That's it. Another breath, in through your nose and out, releasing just a bit more of the tension you've been holding, the guilt you've been carrying. Just for now, just for this breath, you can set it down. Now bring your attention to your face, your jaw. Notice if you're clenching, and if you are, just let that soften. Let your tongue rest easy in your mouth. Let your forehead smooth. There's nothing you need to figure out right now. Nothing you need to fix. Your eyes can be heavy. Your whole face can just rest. Move down to your neck, your shoulders, that place where so much gets stored. Just acknowledge the tightness there. You don't have to fix it. Just notice it. And breathe into it. With each breath, imagine those muscles receiving permission to soften, to release, even just a fraction. Down through your arms, your hands. Maybe they've been clenched. Maybe you've been holding on so tight to this guilt, to this shame, to this story about who you are. Let them open. Let them rest. All the way down through your chest, your belly, your legs, your feet, just scanning through, not demanding anything, just inviting your body to remember what it feels like to let go. This time is yours. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go, nobody needing anything from you right now. For the next while, you can simply be here, listening, breathing, allowing. This is sacred space, and you are safe here. Safe to finally look at what you've been carrying. Safe to question the voice that says you don't deserve forgiveness. Safe to explore the possibility that maybe you've punished yourself enough. You know what you're here to forgive yourself for, don't you? Even if you haven't said it out loud, you know. That thing you did, that person you hurt, that choice you made, that moment you can't take back. It might be something big, something that changed everything. Or it might be something that seems small to everyone else. But to you, it's everything. It's the weight you wake up with, the shame you carry through your days, the reason you don't feel you deserve peace. Maybe you said something you can't unsay, words that came out in anger, or fear, or pain, and hurt someone you love. Maybe you made a choice that had consequences you didn't anticipate. Maybe you broke something precious. Maybe you weren't there when you should have been. Maybe you were there when you shouldn't have been. Maybe you betrayed someone's trust. Maybe you betrayed yourself. Maybe it was a moment of weakness, a failure of courage, a lapse in judgment. Maybe you knew better, but did it anyway. Maybe you didn't know better at the time, and that's what haunts you, that you couldn't see what seems so obvious now. Maybe you hurt someone intentionally, or maybe the hurt was accidental, but the damage was real. Maybe it happened years ago. Maybe it happened yesterday. Maybe it's something you've never told anyone. Maybe everyone knows and you can't escape it. Whatever it is, it's been living in you, taking up space, using your energy, keeping you from peace, keeping you from sleep. And there's this voice, this relentless, harsh voice that keeps you trapped there, that says, you should have known better. You should have been better. You should have done differently. How could you? What kind of person does that? You deserve to suffer. You deserve to feel this way forever. That voice. It's so convincing, isn't it? So authoritative. So certain. And some part of you believes it. Some part of you thinks that if you just punish yourself enough, if you just feel bad enough, if you just carry this guilt forever, then maybe, somehow, it will make up for what you did. Maybe it will prove you're not a bad person. Maybe it will prevent you from ever making another mistake. Maybe it will balance the scales. But here's what's actually happening. The punishment isn't helping. It's not making anything better. It's not healing anyone, least of all you. It's not preventing future mistakes. It's actually making you more likely to make them because you're so depleted, so exhausted, so disconnected from yourself. You're trying to live your life while simultaneously being at war with yourself, and you can't do both well. I want you to know something. And please really hear this. You are not a bad person for having made a mistake. You're a human person. A person who was doing the best they could with the awareness and capacity they had in that moment. A person who has been hurt, who has struggled, who has carried things you shouldn't have had to carry, who made a choice, or a series of choices, that you regret. That doesn't make you irredeemable. That doesn't make you unworthy of forgiveness. That doesn't mean you have to suffer forever. And I know what your mind is saying right now, but you don't understand what I did. You don't know how bad it was. You don't know who I hurt. This is different. I really don't deserve forgiveness. And I hear that. I honor that. Whatever you did, whatever happened, it's real. The pain is real. The consequences are real. The regret is real. I'm not asking you to minimize it, or pretend it wasn't serious, or say it doesn't matter. But I am asking you to consider that you can acknowledge the full weight of what happened and still choose to forgive yourself, that you can take full responsibility for your actions and still decide that endless self-punishment isn't the answer, that you can honor the pain you caused while also honoring your own humanity, your own capacity for growth, your own worthiness of compassion. Because here's the truth. The part of you that feels so guilty, that part exists because you have a conscience, because you care, because you have values. Bad people don't lie awake at night torturing themselves about their mistakes. Bad people don't seek healing, don't want to be better, don't feel remorse. The very fact that you're here, listening to this, carrying this weight, means you're not who you're afraid you are. You're someone who made a mistake. And then, instead of becoming defensive or making excuses, you felt it. You let yourself feel the full weight of what you'd done. That's actually beautiful. That's evidence of your goodness, not your badness. Your capacity to feel remorse, to recognize harm, to want to do better. That's all evidence that you're a person with integrity, with heart, with conscience. But somewhere along the way, that healthy remorse turned into something else, into shame, into self-hatred, into a belief that you don't deserve forgiveness, that you should suffer forever. That punishment is what you're owed. And that's where we need to intervene. Because that's not serving anyone. Not you. Not the person you hurt. Not the world. It's just destroying you slowly from the inside. Tonight, we're going to practice something revolutionary. Something that might feel impossible at first. We're going to practice treating yourself with the same compassion you'd offer someone you love who made a mistake. We're going to practice seeing yourself clearly, not through the distorted lens of shame, but through the clear lens of truth. We're going to practice forgiving yourself, not because what you did was okay, but because you're human, because you've suffered enough, because punishment isn't the same as healing, because you deserve peace. You're so brave for being here. So brave for being willing to look at this. So brave for considering that maybe, just maybe, there's a way forward that doesn't require you to carry this weight forever. And we're going to walk that path together, slowly, gently, with no pressure, no timeline. Your only job is to keep breathing and listening and allowing yourself to be held by these words, carried toward the forgiveness and peace and sleep you so deeply deserve. You're already doing beautifully. Just by being here, just by being willing, you've already begun. And I'm so honored to walk beside you through this. So grateful that you're giving yourself this gift, this moment, this possibility, this gentle journey home to yourself. There's something we need to understand before we can move toward forgiveness. We need to understand why you've been so hard on yourself. Because this harsh inner voice, this relentless critic, this part of you that won't let you off the hook, it didn't come from nowhere. It has a history, a purpose, a reason for being. And until we understand it, with compassion, we can't begin to gently, lovingly, ask it to soften. Take another slow breath with me. In and out. Good. You're still here. Still safe. Still held by this moment. Let's talk about that voice. You know the one I mean. The one that sounds like a prosecutor in a courtroom that never adjourns. The one that presents evidence of your guilt over and over. The one that says, remember? Remember what you did? Remember who you hurt? Don't you dare forget. Don't you dare let yourself off the hook. You don't deserve peace. You don't deserve forgiveness. You need to remember. You need to suffer. That voice, it's exhausting, isn't it? It's there when you wake up. It's there in quiet moments. It's there when you're trying to enjoy something, reminding you that you don't deserve enjoyment. It's there when someone compliments you, telling you they wouldn't say that if they really knew you. It's there at night, keeping you from sleep. It's relentless, merciless, unforgiving. And here's what's important to understand. That voice, as cruel as it sounds, as painful as it is, it actually believes it's protecting you. It thinks it's keeping you safe. It thinks it's making you a better person. Because somewhere in your history, you learned that harsh self-judgment was necessary, that without it, you'd be out of control, that without constant vigilance and punishment, you'd make more mistakes, hurt more people, become someone you don't want to be. Maybe when you were young, mistakes weren't met with gentle correction. Maybe they were met with anger, disappointment, withdrawal of love. And you learned at a very deep level that to be safe, to be loved, to be acceptable, you had to be perfect. Or at least, you had to punish yourself thoroughly when you weren't. You had to beat yourself up before anyone else could. You had to prove, through your own suffering, that you knew you were wrong, that you were sorry, that you wouldn't do it again. Or maybe you grew up in a culture, a family, a faith tradition that emphasized guilt and shame as motivators. That taught you that self-forgiveness was self-indulgence. That if you were too easy on yourself, you'd become morally lazy. That suffering was proof of conscience. That if you weren't in pain, you must not really care. And so you learned to weaponize shame against yourself, to use guilt as a whip, to never, ever let yourself rest. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe you just care so much. You care about being good, about doing right, about not causing harm. And when you did cause harm, when you did make a mistake, it violated your deepest values. It created a crisis, a cognitive dissonance. I'm someone who cares about being good, but I did something bad. How can both be true? And the only way your mind could resolve it was to decide, I must not be good. I must be bad. And bad people deserve punishment. That's the logic, isn't it? If you punish yourself enough, if you suffer enough, then somehow the equation balances. Then somehow you've paid for what you did. Then somehow you can reclaim your identity as a good person. The punishment becomes the proof. See, I'm not a bad person. A bad person wouldn't feel this guilty. A bad person wouldn't punish themselves this way. My suffering proves my goodness. But here's what actually happens. The punishment doesn't prove your goodness. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't heal anyone. It doesn't make you better. It just depletes you, exhausts you, keeps you trapped in the past, keeps you from being fully present, keeps you from having the energy and clarity and wholeness you need to actually be the person you want to be going forward. Think about it. When you're at war with yourself, when you're spending all your energy on self-condemnation, what's left for anything else? What's left for growth, for joy, for connection, for making amends, for being present with the people you love, for contributing positively to the world? Nothing, or very little, because you're too busy being your own jailer, your own torturer, your own executioner. And here's the cruel irony. The harsh inner critic that thinks it's preventing future mistakes, it's actually making them more likely. Because when you're depleted, disconnected from yourself, operating from a place of shame, you make poorer decisions. You have less capacity for wisdom, less access to your values, less ability to respond with integrity. Shame doesn't make us better. It makes us smaller, more reactive, more likely to hurt ourselves and others. There's a difference between conscience and cruelty. Conscience says, that wasn't aligned with my values. I caused harm. I need to acknowledge that, make amends if possible, learn from it, and do better going forward. That's healthy. That's functional. That's how growth happens. But cruelty says, you're a terrible person. You should suffer forever. You don't deserve forgiveness. You don't deserve peace. You should remember this every day for the rest of your life and hate yourself for it. Do you see the difference? One leads to growth, to healing, to change. The other leads to nothing, just endless suffering, just a life lived in the shadow of the past, just a person unable to move forward because they're chained to what was. And I want you to consider something that might be uncomfortable. What if your self-punishment isn't actually about accountability at all? What if it's about control? What if, on some level, you believe that if you just punish yourself enough, if you just feel bad enough, you can somehow control the past, change it retroactively, make it not have happened, or at least control the future? Make absolutely sure you never make another mistake. But you can't control the past. It happened. It's done. No amount of guilt changes it. And you can't control the future either. You can't guarantee you'll never make another mistake. You're human. Humans make mistakes. It's part of our design. Part of how we learn. Part of what makes us capable of growth. The question isn't whether you'll make mistakes. The question is, how will you meet yourself when you do? Will you meet yourself with cruelty? With condemnation? With the message that you're fundamentally flawed and unworthy? Or will you meet yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a child who's learning? A friend who's struggling? A person you love who made a choice they regret? Because here's what I want you to really understand. The part of you that made that mistake, that person you were in that moment, they were doing the best they could. I know that might be hard to accept. I know you might want to argue with that. No, I knew better. I should have done better. There's no excuse. But knowing better intellectually and having the capacity to act on that knowledge in the moment are two different things. You can know the right thing to do and still not have the emotional regulation to do it when you're triggered. You can know the right thing to do and still not have the skills or tools or support to execute it in that situation. You can know the right thing to do and still be operating from trauma, from fear, from pain, from exhaustion, from any number of factors that limited your capacity in that moment. That doesn't excuse the harm. That doesn't mean there shouldn't be accountability. That doesn't mean the other person doesn't deserve an apology or amends. But it does mean you were human. You were limited. You were doing the best you could with what you had. And your best in that moment wasn't what you wish it had been. And that's heartbreaking. And it's okay to grieve that. But it doesn't mean you're irredeemable. It means you're human. So let's practice something right now. Let's practice speaking to the harsh inner critic with compassion. not fighting it, not trying to silence it, but understanding it, thanking it, and then gently asking it to step aside. Take a breath, and in your mind, or out loud if you're alone, say something like this: "Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for caring so much about me being a good person. Thank you for your vigilance. I know you think that if you stop punishing me, I'll become careless, or I'll forget, or I'll hurt someone again. But I want you to know, I don't need punishment to remember my values. I don't need cruelty to care about doing better. I can learn from my mistakes without hating myself for them. I can grow without suffering. And I'm asking you, gently, lovingly, to soften, to trust me, to let me try a different way." Notice what happens when you say that. Does something shift? Does something soften? Or does resistance rise up? Whatever happens, it's okay. It's just information. It's just where you are. And wherever you are, it's exactly right. Because this is a process, not an event. And you're exactly where you need to be on that path. You're doing so well. So much better than you know. You're being willing to look at these patterns, to question the voice that's been running your inner world, to consider that maybe, just maybe, there's another way, a gentler way, a way that honors both what happened and your own humanity, a way that allows for accountability and compassion to coexist. That takes tremendous courage, tremendous strength. And I see you. I see how hard this is. I see how much you're carrying. And I'm so proud of you for being here, for being willing, for taking these first steps toward the forgiveness you deserve. Keep breathing. Keep softening. Keep opening to the possibility that you don't have to be at war with yourself anymore. That there's a peace available, not someday, but right now, in this breath, in this moment, in this gentle allowing. Now, we need to talk about what forgiveness actually means, because I think there's been a misunderstanding, a confusion, and that confusion might be the very thing that's been keeping you trapped, keeping you unable to forgive yourself. Because when you hear the word forgiveness, what do you think it means? What images come to mind? What fears rise up? Breathe with me, in and out. Let yourself settle even deeper. We're going to clear this up. We're going to remove the obstacles. We're going to show you what forgiveness really is and what it's not. Maybe when you think of forgiving yourself, you imagine it means saying, "What I did was okay," that it means minimizing the harm, pretending it wasn't serious, acting like it didn't matter, shrugging it off, moving on without really dealing with it. And if that's what forgiveness means, then of course you can't do it. Of course you resist, because what you did wasn't okay. The harm was real. It does matter. And you're not someone who shrugs off serious things. Or maybe you think forgiving yourself means forgetting, erasing the memory, acting like it never happened, never thinking about it again, just deleting it from your history. And that feels impossible, feels wrong, feels like a betrayal of everyone involved, including yourself. Because how can you just forget? How can you pretend it didn't shape you? How can you erase something that's so deeply woven into your story? Or maybe you think forgiveness means you have to feel okay about it, that you have to reach some emotional state where you're at peace with what happened, where you don't feel sad anymore, or regretful, or wish it had been different, where you found some silver lining or deeper meaning that makes it all worthwhile. And since you can't get to that place, since you still feel the weight of it, you think you haven't really forgiven yourself. You think you're failing at forgiveness. Or maybe, and this might be the deepest fear, you think forgiving yourself means letting yourself off the hook. That it means you're saying you didn't really do anything wrong. That you're excusing yourself, justifying yourself, becoming one of those people who never takes responsibility, who always has an excuse, who hurts people and then acts like they're the victim. And you're not that person. You refuse to be that person. So you refuse to forgive yourself. But here's the truth. Here's what forgiveness actually is. And I need you to really hear this. Really let it in. Because this changes everything. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean saying what you did was okay. It means saying, what I did was not okay. And I'm still worthy of compassion. I'm still worthy of peace. I'm still worthy of moving forward. Both things are true. The wrongness of the action and the worthiness of the person, they coexist. They're not mutually exclusive. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering differently. It means holding the memory without the constant accompanying punishment. It means acknowledging what happened, learning from it, integrating it into your story, while releasing the belief that you should suffer for it forever. The memory remains. The wisdom remains. The commitment to do better remains. But the torture, that can go. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you have to feel okay about what happened. You can forgive yourself completely and still wish it hadn't happened. Still feel regret. Still feel sadness. Still carry the weight of it. Forgiveness isn't about changing your feelings. It's about changing your relationship with yourself. It's about treating yourself with compassion even while you carry difficult feelings. And forgiving yourself absolutely does not mean letting yourself off the hook. It doesn't mean avoiding accountability. It doesn't mean excusing or justifying. In fact, it's the opposite. Real forgiveness requires radical honesty. It requires looking clearly at what you did, acknowledging the harm, taking full responsibility. No excuses, no minimizing. And then, from that place of complete honesty and accountability, choosing to extend compassion to yourself anyway. That's what makes it so powerful. That's what makes it so different from excuse-making or self-justification. You're not saying, I didn't really do anything wrong. You're saying, I did something wrong. I take full responsibility for that. And I'm choosing to forgive myself anyway. Not because I deserve it by some objective measure, but because I deserve to be free. I deserve to heal. I deserve to live my life, not as a prisoner of my past, but as a person learning and growing and becoming. Think of it this way. Imagine someone you love, a dear friend, a child, someone you care about deeply, and they come to you having made a serious mistake. They've hurt someone. They're devastated. They're taking full responsibility. They're genuinely sorry. They want to make amends. They want to learn from it. They want to do better. But they're also drowning in self-hatred, convinced they're unforgivable, convinced they should suffer forever. What would you say to them? Would you agree with them? Would you say, yes, you should hate yourself forever. You should never find peace. You should punish yourself every day for the rest of your life? Of course not. You'd hold both truths. You'd say something like, yes, what you did was serious. Yes, there's harm to acknowledge and amends to make if possible. And also, you're human. You made a mistake. You're not defined by this one thing. You can learn from it. You can grow from it. You deserve forgiveness. You deserve peace. That's what compassion sounds like. That's what wisdom sounds like. That's what love sounds like. And the question is, can you offer that same compassion to yourself? Can you hold both truths for yourself the way you would for someone you love? Can you acknowledge what you did and still treat yourself with kindness? Because here's what's important to understand. Forgiving yourself isn't about the past. It's about the future. It's not about whether what you did was forgivable by some objective standard. It's about whether you're willing to live the rest of your life as a free person or a prisoner. It's about whether you're willing to use your energy for growth and healing and contribution, or whether you're going to keep using it for self-punishment. Self-forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. Not a moment of emotional catharsis where suddenly everything feels okay. It's a decision, a commitment, a practice. It's you saying, I'm choosing to release myself from the prison of endless guilt. I'm choosing to stop the self-punishment. I'm choosing to treat myself with the same compassion I'd offer someone I love. Not because I've earned it, not because I deserve it by some cosmic calculation, but because I'm choosing freedom over bondage. I'm choosing life over slow death. I'm choosing to be a person who can grow from mistakes rather than be destroyed by them. And that choice, that decision, it doesn't happen once. It happens again and again. Every time the guilt rises up, you choose forgiveness. Every time the harsh inner voice starts its familiar litany, you choose compassion. Every time you're tempted to punish yourself, you choose gentleness instead. It's a practice, a daily returning, a muscle you strengthen over time. So right now, in this moment, let's practice that choice. Let's practice what it feels like to hold both truths at once, to acknowledge what happened and still extend compassion to yourself. Bring to mind what you're forgiving yourself for, just briefly, just enough to know what we're talking about. And then, say this to yourself, out loud if you can, silently if you need to. What I did was real. The harm was real. I take full responsibility for that. And I forgive myself. I choose to forgive myself. Not because it was okay, but because I deserve to be free. I deserve to heal. I deserve peace. I forgive myself. Notice what happens when you say that. Does something open? Does something resist? Does it feel true? Does it feel impossible? Does it feel like both at the same time? Whatever you notice, it's okay. There's no right way to feel. This is just the beginning. Just the first small opening. Just the first crack in the wall you've built around yourself. You don't have to believe it fully yet. You don't have to feel it completely. You just have to be willing. Willing to consider that maybe forgiveness is possible. Maybe you're not actually unforgivable. Maybe the story you've been telling yourself, the one where you have to suffer forever, maybe that's not the only story available. Maybe there's another one where you learn, where you grow, where you take responsibility and still move forward, where you become the person you want to be, not through punishment, but through grace. That's the story we're writing together. That's the path we're walking. And you're doing so beautifully, so courageously. Opening to this new possibility, this new way of being with yourself, this radical act of self-compassion. Keep breathing, keep softening, keep allowing this truth to settle into you. You are worthy of forgiveness, not because you're perfect, but because you're human. And humans, beautiful, flawed, learning humans, we all deserve the grace to grow from our mistakes without being destroyed by them. That grace, it's here. It's available. It's yours. Whenever you're ready to receive it. Now, I need you to really understand something. Something that might change everything. Because there's a story you've been telling yourself about that moment. About who you were. About what you should have known. About what you should have been capable of. And that story, it's been crushing you. But what if it's not the whole truth? What if there's something you haven't fully seen yet? Let's breathe together, deep and slow, in and out, softening a little more with each breath. We're going to look at this differently now, with clear eyes, with compassion, with honesty that serves healing rather than punishment. Here's what you keep telling yourself. I should have known better. I should have done better. There's no excuse for what I did. And I understand why you say that. I really do. From where you're standing now, with all the knowledge you have now, with all the growth you've experienced since then, with the clarity that only hindsight provides, it seems so obvious. It seems so clear what you should have done differently. But here's what you're forgetting. You weren't operating from where you are now. You were operating from where you were then. And the person you were then, they had limitations. They had blind spots. They had wounds. They had less information, less skill, less capacity, less awareness. They were doing the absolute best they could with what they had in that moment. And I know your mind is already arguing with that. No, I knew better. I knew what the right thing to do was. I just didn't do it. But let's look closer. Did you really have full capacity to act on what you intellectually knew? Because knowing and being able to execute in the moment are two very different things. Maybe in that moment, you were triggered. Your nervous system was activated. You were in fight or flight. And when you're in that state, the thinking part of your brain goes offline. You're operating from survival mode, from automatic patterns, from the parts of you that learned how to cope when you were young. And those parts, they don't have access to your adult wisdom. They don't care about your values. They're just trying to keep you safe in the only ways they know how. Or maybe you were exhausted, depleted, running on empty. And when you're in that state, you simply don't have the same capacity for wise decision-making, for emotional regulation, for acting from your highest self. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality of being human. We have limits, and when we're beyond those limits, we make mistakes. Or maybe you were carrying wounds you didn't even know were there. Trauma you hadn't processed. Pain you'd never acknowledged. And those wounds, they were driving your behavior in ways you couldn't see at the time. They were creating blind spots, making you defensive or reactive or numb in ways that seemed like choices, but were actually survival responses. Or maybe you simply didn't have the skills yet, the tools, the practice. Maybe you'd never learned how to communicate that need, or set that boundary, or manage that emotion, or navigate that situation. And so you did what you knew how to do, which wasn't what the situation required, but it was all you had access to in that moment. Or maybe you were operating from beliefs you didn't even know you held. Stories about yourself, or others, or the world that you'd absorbed so young they felt like truth. And those beliefs, they shaped your perception, your choices, your behavior, in ways you couldn't see because you were inside them, because they were the water you were swimming in. Think about it this way. If you really had the capacity in that moment to do better, if you really had full access to your wisdom and your values and your skills, wouldn't you have done better? Because you care. You're not someone who enjoys causing harm. You're not someone who chooses to hurt people for fun. If you could have made a better choice, you would have. The fact that you didn't, that's not evidence of your badness. It's evidence that something was limiting your capacity in that moment. And here's what's so important to understand. You are not the same person now that you were then. You've grown. You've learned. You've developed new awareness, new skills, new capacity. The fact that you can see so clearly now what you should have done differently, that's proof that you've changed, that you've evolved, that you're not who you were. The you that exists right now, the one listening to these words, you wouldn't make that same choice today. Not because you've been punishing yourself, not because the guilt has reformed you, but because you've grown, because you've learned, because experience has taught you, because you've developed capacities you didn't have then. So when you say, I should have known better, what you're really saying is, the person I am now would have done better. And that's true. But you weren't this person then. You were that person. And that person, they were doing their best. They really were. Their best wasn't good enough to prevent the harm. And that's heartbreaking. And it's worth grieving. But it doesn't mean they weren't trying. It doesn't mean they were bad. It means they were human, limited, imperfect, learning. Can you feel the difference? Can you feel how that reframe changes something? You're not excusing what happened. You're not saying it was okay. You're just seeing it accurately, seeing the full context, seeing all the factors that were present, seeing your younger self with compassion instead of contempt. And there's something else, something about that moment you need to understand. Whatever was happening, however you were responding, there was a reason, not a justification, not an excuse, but a reason. You weren't acting randomly. You weren't being cruel for cruelty's sake. Something in you was trying to meet a need, trying to protect something, trying to cope with something overwhelming. Maybe you were trying to protect yourself from pain, from rejection, from feeling out of control, from being hurt the way you'd been hurt before. And so you defended, or attacked, or withdrew, or lashed out. Not because you wanted to cause harm, but because you were trying to prevent harm to yourself. Or maybe you were trying to get a need met that you didn't know how to ask for directly. Connection, validation, respect, security. And so you went about it in ways that were clumsy, hurtful, misguided, because you didn't have better strategies, because no one ever taught you, because you were operating from scarcity and fear. Or maybe you were just trying to survive, to get through, to make it to the next moment. And in your scrambling, in your desperation, you made choices that caused collateral damage, that hurt people you never meant to hurt, not because you didn't care, but because you were drowning. And drowning people aren't known for their grace. I'm not saying any of this makes it okay. I'm not saying the other person wasn't hurt. I'm not saying there shouldn't be accountability. I'm just saying you weren't a villain. You were a struggling human, doing what struggling humans do, trying to navigate impossible situations with insufficient resources. And sometimes that results in harm. And that's tragic for everyone involved, including you. So let's practice something right now. Let's practice looking at your younger self, the one who made that mistake, with compassion, with understanding, with the kind of generosity you'd offer if they were someone else's younger self instead of your own. Close your eyes if you'd like, and imagine that person, that you from back then. See them clearly. See their face, their posture, the weight they were carrying that nobody could see, the wounds they were trying to hide, the needs they didn't know how to meet, the limitations they didn't even know they had. And now, speak to them, not with a harsh voice, not with condemnation, but with gentleness, with truth. Say something like, I see you. I see how hard you were trying. I see how much you were carrying. I see that you didn't have what you needed in that moment. I see that you were doing your best, even though your best wasn't enough to prevent the harm. I see that you're not bad. You're human. And I forgive you. I forgive you for not being more than you were capable of being. I forgive you for being limited, for being wounded, for being lost. I forgive you. Feel what happens when you say that? Does something in you soften? Does something release? Or does resistance rise up? Whatever happens, just notice. Just allow. This is the practice. This is how we heal. By seeing accurately, by understanding fully, by extending the compassion that makes growth possible. You were doing the best you could. You really were. And your best led to harm. Both things are true. And both things can be held with compassion, with grief, with the commitment to do better now that you have more, now that you know more, now that you are more. That's not letting yourself off the hook. That's seeing the hook for what it is and choosing freedom, choosing truth, choosing the kind of accountability that actually leads to growth instead of the kind that just leads to shame. You're so brave for looking at this, so brave for questioning the story you've been telling yourself, so brave for being willing to see your younger self with new eyes, with kinder eyes, with the eyes of someone who understands that being human means being imperfect, means being limited, means making mistakes, and learning, and growing, and becoming. That's what you're doing. Right now, you're becoming. And that's beautiful. Keep going. Keep breathing. Keep opening to this new understanding. You're exactly where you need to be. Now that we understand what forgiveness really is, and we've looked at your younger self with compassion, let's move into the actual practice, the lived experience, the moment-by-moment reality of what self-forgiveness looks like. Because understanding is beautiful, but doing, that's where transformation happens. That's where the real healing begins. Take a deep breath with me. Let it fill you gently. And as you exhale, feel yourself settling even more deeply into this moment, into this safe space we've created together, where it's okay to try something new, where it's okay to stumble, where it's okay to be exactly where you are. Self-forgiveness isn't a destination you arrive at. It's not a moment when suddenly everything is resolved and you feel completely at peace and never think about it again. It's a practice, a daily returning, a choice you make again and again, sometimes moment by moment, and that's okay. That's actually how all real change happens, not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent choices. So let's start small. Let's start right here, right now, in this breath. What does it feel like in your body to hold this guilt, this shame, this unforgiveness toward yourself? Just notice. Don't try to change it yet. Just notice. Where do you feel it? Is it a tightness in your chest? A heaviness in your stomach? A tension in your jaw? A weight on your shoulders? A constriction in your throat? Just locate it. Feel it. Not to wallow in it, but to acknowledge it. To say, oh, this is what unforgiveness feels like in my body. This is the physical sensation of carrying this weight. Because when we can feel it clearly, when we can locate it precisely, then we can begin to release it. Now, keeping that sensation in your awareness, I want you to imagine speaking directly to yourself, to that part of you that made the mistake, that younger you, that confused, struggling, limited version of yourself. And I want you to try saying these words out loud if you can, silently if you need to, but really saying them, really meaning them, even if you don't fully believe them yet. I forgive you. Just that. Simple. Direct. I forgive you. And notice what happens in your body when you say it. Does something shift? Does the tightness ease even slightly? Does something resist? Does it feel impossible? Does it feel like both at once? Whatever you notice, just observe it. No judgment. Just curiosity. Try it again. I forgive you. Maybe this time, add a little more. I forgive you for not knowing better. I forgive you for being limited. I forgive you for making that choice. I forgive you for the harm that resulted. I forgive you. And if that feels too big, too much, too impossible, then start smaller. Maybe you can't forgive yourself yet. Maybe that feels like too far a reach. But can you forgive yourself for not being able to forgive yourself? Can you extend compassion to the part of you that's still stuck in guilt? Can you say, I forgive you for still struggling with this. I forgive you for not being further along. I forgive you for finding this so hard. That's a place to start. That's an opening. Because sometimes, the thing keeping us from self-forgiveness is our judgment about not having achieved self-forgiveness yet. We're trapped in a meta loop of shame, feeling bad about feeling bad, guilty about being guilty. And that's where we can begin, by forgiving ourselves for still being in process, for still struggling, for still being human. Here's another practice, and this one might feel more accessible, more doable. Instead of trying to forgive the action, try forgiving the person. Try seeing yourself in your full humanity and extending compassion to all of you. Not just the parts that got it right, but the parts that got it wrong too. Imagine holding yourself the way you'd hold a child who's hurt and confused. You wouldn't say to that child, "You're terrible. You should suffer forever." You'd hold them. You'd say, I know it hurts. I know you wish you'd done differently. And I'm here. I'm not leaving. You're still loved. You're still worthy. You're still mine. Can you hold yourself that way? Can you be that gentle presence for yourself? Try it right now. Put your hand on your heart. Feel the warmth there. Feel your own heartbeat. That steady, faithful rhythm that's been beating your whole life, keeping you alive, keeping you here. And say to yourself, I'm here. I'm not abandoning you. Even now, even with this mistake, even with this guilt, I'm here, and you're not alone. Feel what happens. Does something soften? Does something open? Even just a crack? That's enough. That's the beginning. That tiny opening, that small softening, that's where healing enters. That's where forgiveness becomes possible. And here's something else you can practice. something concrete, something you can do when the guilt rises up, when the harsh inner voice starts its familiar litany, when you're tempted to spiral back into self-punishment. You can practice the pause, the redirect, the gentle interruption. When you notice yourself starting to rehearse the mistake again, to replay it, to condemn yourself, just pause, take a breath, and say, I've already looked at this. I've already acknowledged it. I've already taken responsibility. I don't need to punish myself again right now. What I need right now is compassion. What I need right now is gentleness. What I need right now is to remember that I'm more than this one thing. And then, deliberately, gently, redirect your attention, not to avoid, not to suppress, but to remind yourself of the fuller truth, of who else you are, of what else you've done, of the good you've created, of the love you've given, of the times you did get it right, not to balance some cosmic scale, but to see yourself accurately, completely, not just through the lens of your worst moment, but through the lens of your whole life. You are not just the mistake. You're also the person who's been trying to make amends, the person who's been learning, the person who's been growing, the person who cares so much that they're lying here at night, listening to words about forgiveness. That person, that's you too. And that person, they're worthy of compassion. They're worthy of peace. They're worthy of forgiveness. Here's one more practice. And this one might be the most powerful. It's about speaking to yourself with the voice of someone who loves you. Not the harsh inner critic, not the punisher, but the part of you that's wise and kind and wants your healing. The part that can see clearly without cruelty. The part that holds both truth and compassion. Find that voice inside you. Maybe it sounds like someone who loved you well, a grandparent, a teacher, a friend. Or maybe it's just the wisest part of you, the part that knows. And from that place, speak to yourself about this mistake. What does that voice say? Not the one that condemns, but the one that understands. Maybe it says, yes, you made a mistake, a serious one, and you've learned from it. You've grown from it. You're not the same person, and you deserve to move forward. You deserve to stop carrying this weight. You deserve to be free. Or maybe it says, you were so young, so confused, so hurt, and you didn't have what you needed, and you made a choice from that place, and it caused harm, and that's heartbreaking for everyone, including you, and you've suffered enough. It's time to let yourself heal. Or maybe it says, you're human, beautifully, tragically human, and humans make mistakes. It's part of our design, part of how we learn. And this mistake, it taught you something. It changed you. It made you more compassionate, more aware, more careful. And that growth, it matters. It counts. It's worth something. Listen for that voice. Trust that voice. Let that voice guide you. Because that's the voice of truth. That's the voice of wisdom. That's the voice that knows the difference between accountability and cruelty, between learning and punishment, between growth and stagnation. And practice speaking to yourself from that place every day, every time the guilt rises, every time you're tempted to punish yourself. Practice interrupting the harsh voice with the gentle one. Practice choosing compassion over condemnation. Practice treating yourself like someone worthy of healing. This is the work. Not dramatic, not spectacular, just this. These small moments of choosing differently, of extending grace to yourself, of remembering that you're allowed to be human, allowed to make mistakes, allowed to learn, allowed to grow, allowed to heal, allowed to move forward, allowed to forgive yourself. You're doing this right now, with each breath, with each small opening, with each moment of willingness. And it's beautiful. You're beautiful, even in your struggle, even in your imperfection, even with your mistakes. You're still worthy, still valuable, still deserving of your own compassion. Keep practicing, keep choosing, keep opening. The forgiveness you seek, it's not somewhere far away. It's not something you have to earn. It's here, available, waiting for you to simply receive it, to accept it, to allow it. And you're getting closer with every breath, every moment, every gentle choice. You're finding your way home, to yourself, to peace, to the freedom that comes from finally letting yourself be forgiven. So now, as you continue breathing, continue softening, I want you to discover something you might not have noticed while you've been so busy condemning yourself. Because when we're trapped in guilt and shame, when all our energy is focused on what we did wrong, we lose sight of something essential. We lose sight of what remains, of who we still are, of what becomes possible when we stop punishing ourselves. And what I want you to see now, what's becoming visible as you release your grip on the guilt, is this: you are still here, still whole, still capable of so much good. The mistake you made, as much as it hurt, as much as it matters, it hasn't destroyed your fundamental goodness. It hasn't erased your capacity to love and grow and contribute. It hasn't made you irredeemable. Let that settle in for a moment. Breathe with it. You are still good. All this time, you've been thinking that the mistake defined you, that it revealed some essential badness in you, that it proved you were the person you were most afraid of being. But look at what's actually true. Look at the evidence of who you really are. You're someone who feels remorse, deep, genuine remorse. You're not someone who shrugs off the harm they've caused. You're not someone who makes excuses or blames others or pretends it didn't matter. You feel it. You carry it. You care about it. That's not evidence of badness. That's evidence of conscience, of integrity, of a heart that knows the difference between right and wrong and cares about being on the right side. You're someone who's been trying to make amends. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not in ways that fully repair what was broken. But you've been trying. You've been thinking about it. You've been working on yourself. You've been attempting to grow, to learn, to be better. That's not nothing. That's actually extraordinary. That's evidence of someone who takes responsibility, who wants to do right, who's committed to growth. You're someone who hasn't given up on yourself, despite everything, despite the weight of the guilt, despite the harsh inner voice, despite all the reasons you could have used to just check out, to stop trying, to become bitter or defensive or numb. You're still here, still listening, still seeking healing, still believing, or at least hoping, that maybe you can be better. That's courage. That's resilience. That's the mark of someone who hasn't been defeated by their mistake. You're someone who's learned. The fact that you can see so clearly now what you should have done differently. The fact that you have such insight into where you went wrong. That's not just torment. That's wisdom. That's growth. You're not the same person who made that mistake. You've evolved. You've developed new awareness, new capacities, new understanding. The mistake changed you, taught you, made you someone who won't make that same mistake again. You're someone with values, strong values. The reason this hurts so much, the reason you can't let it go, is because you violated something you deeply care about. Honesty, kindness, loyalty, integrity, whatever it was, it matters to you. And that's beautiful. That's evidence of who you really are. Not someone without values who can do anything without consequence, but someone with deep values who suffers when they act against them. You're someone who loves, who cares, who's capable of connection. The guilt you feel, it exists because you care about the people you hurt, because they matter to you, because you recognize their humanity, their worth, their right to be treated well. People who don't love don't feel this kind of guilt. People who don't care don't lie awake at night tormented by what they've done. Your guilt, paradoxically, is evidence of your capacity for love. You're someone who still has so much to offer, to give, to create, to contribute. The mistake, it's one chapter in your story, not a pleasant chapter, not one you'd choose to relive. But it's not the whole book. There are chapters before it where you did beautiful things. And there are chapters after it, chapters still being written, where you get to choose who you want to be, where you get to take everything you've learned and use it to show up differently, to love better, to act more wisely, to be more of who you want to be. And here's what happens when you forgive yourself. When you stop spending all your energy on self-punishment, all that energy, all that attention, all that life force that's been tied up in guilt, it becomes available again. Available for actually living, for being present, for creating, for connecting, for contributing, for being the person you want to be going forward. Think about what you could do with all that energy. Instead of replaying the past endlessly, you could be fully present in this moment. Present with the people in your life right now. Present with the opportunities that are actually here. Present with the choices you can actually make today. Instead of punishing yourself, you could be making amends in meaningful ways. Not just feeling guilty, but actually doing the work of repair, of restoration, of making things better where you can, of using what you've learned to help others, to prevent similar harm, to contribute to healing in the world. Instead of hating yourself, you could be developing the very qualities you wish you'd had then, building your emotional intelligence, your communication skills, your capacity for patience or boundaries or vulnerability, or whatever it was you lacked. You could be actively becoming the person you wish you'd been, not through punishment, but through intentional growth. Instead of being trapped in shame, you could be living your values now, showing up with integrity, being the person you want to be, creating the life you want to create, making choices that align with who you are at your core. Not perfectly, never perfectly, but authentically, intentionally, with your whole heart. That's what becomes available when you forgive yourself. Not a life without regret, not a life without consequences, not a life where the past didn't happen, but a life where you're free, free to grow, free to love, free to be fully present, free to contribute, free to be more than your worst moment. And the world needs that. The world needs you free, needs you healed, needs you bringing your full self to your life, not your diminished, guilt-ridden, exhausted self, but your whole self, your growing self, your learning self, your compassionate self, the self that knows what it's like to fail and get back up, to hurt and learn from it, to make mistakes and become wiser because of them. That's the version of you that can actually make a difference, that can actually repair what's repairable, that can actually show up for people, that can actually live in a way that honors your values, not the version that's spending all its energy on self-flagellation, but the version that's free, that's healed, that's whole. So when you forgive yourself, you're not just doing it for you, though you deserve it for yourself. You're doing it for everyone your life touches, everyone who needs you present, everyone who could benefit from your gifts, everyone who could learn from your wisdom, everyone who could be helped by the person you're becoming. Forgiveness, it doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean there aren't still consequences. It doesn't mean everything is magically okay. But it does mean you get to live again, really live, not half alive, not going through the motions while hating yourself, but fully alive, fully present, fully yourself. And that you, the forgiven you, the freed you, the whole you, that's who you really are. Not the mistake, not the guilt, not the shame, but this person, this beautiful, flawed, learning, growing, courageous person who's willing to look at their worst moment and still choose to believe in their own goodness, to believe in their own capacity for growth, to believe in their own worthiness of peace. That's who remains when you stop punishing yourself. That's what's revealed when the guilt finally releases its grip. Not someone bad trying to pretend they're good, but someone good who made a mistake and learned from it. Someone human who's becoming more human, more compassionate, more wise, more whole. This is you. This has always been you. The mistake was something you did, not who you are. And now that you've learned what you needed to learn from it, now that you've grown in the ways you needed to grow, you get to step into the fullness of who you actually are. Not despite the mistake, but including it, integrating it, using it as fuel for becoming more. That's the gift of forgiveness. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of the guilt. Not perfection, not a life without regret, but wholeness, integration, the ability to hold all of yourself, the light and the shadow, the successes and the failures, the times you got it right and the times you got it wrong, and still say, this is me, all of it, and I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of compassion. I'm worthy of my own forgiveness. You're discovering that now, feeling it, beginning to believe it, and it's transforming you right here, right now, in this breath, in this moment. You're becoming free, and that freedom, it's the most precious thing, more precious than being right, more precious than being perfect, more precious than being without mistakes. Freedom, to be human, to be whole, to be yourself. That's what you're claiming. That's what you're stepping into. And it's beautiful. You're beautiful. Keep going. Keep opening. Keep allowing this truth to settle into every cell. You are forgiven by yourself, by life, by the deepest truth of what you are. And now, you get to live from that place, that forgiven place, that whole place, that free place, starting right now, starting with this breath, starting with this moment of peace. Now, we're going to gather everything together, all that we've explored, all that you've discovered, all that you've been willing to feel and see and understand. we're going to weave it all into something you can carry forward. Something that will support you not just tonight, but tomorrow and all the days after. Your breathing has probably slowed by now, deepened. Your body has learned through these moments together what it feels like to hold yourself with compassion instead of condemnation. And that knowing, it's in your cells now, in your muscles, in your nervous system. You can return to it whenever you need to. This isn't just for tonight. This is a foundation you're building for always. Let's take one more slow breath together. In through your nose, filling gently, and out, releasing completely. And with that exhale, feel how much lighter you already are, how much you've already released. Even if it's subtle, even if it's small, it's real. You've done something profound here tonight. So what do you take with you from this journey? What's yours to keep? Let me remind you. Let me help you gather these truths like precious stones so you can carry them with you, in your heart, wherever you go. You take with you the understanding that self-forgiveness isn't about saying what you did was okay. It's about saying you're worthy of compassion anyway, that you can acknowledge the full weight of the harm and still choose to treat yourself with gentleness. Both truths can coexist. The seriousness of what happened and your worthiness of peace. You don't have to choose between them anymore. You take with you the knowledge that you were doing the best you could in that moment. Not the best you can do now. Not the best you wish you could have done, but the best you could do then. With the awareness and capacity and resources you had. And while that's heartbreaking, while it led to harm, it's also just the truth of being human, of being limited, of being in process. You were human then. You're human now. And humans deserve compassion. You take with you the practice of speaking to yourself with kindness, of interrupting the harsh inner critic with a gentle voice, of choosing, again and again, to treat yourself like someone worthy of healing. This practice, it's yours now. You know how to do it. You know what it feels like. And whenever the guilt rises up, whenever you're tempted to punish yourself, you can return to this, to the gentle voice, to the compassionate witness, to the part of you that knows the difference between accountability and cruelty. You take with you the permission to feel all your feelings, to let the sadness be sad, to let the anger be angry, to let the fear be afraid, to let the relief be relieving. Without judgment, without making them mean something about your progress, just allowing them to move through you, to teach you, to transform you, to complete their journey so they can release. Feelings aren't the enemy. Suppression is. And you know that now. You know how to be with yourself through all of it. You take with you the vision of who you are beyond the mistake, the person who cares, who learns, who grows, who's capable of so much good, who hasn't been destroyed by what happened, but has been changed by it, deepened, made wiser, made more compassionate. That person, that's who you really are. And when you forget, when the mistake looms large again, you can remember. You can see yourself clearly, completely, not just through the lens of your worst moment, but through the lens of your whole story. You take with you the new story, the one where you made a mistake and learned from it, where you caused harm and took responsibility, where you felt the full weight of the guilt and chose forgiveness anyway, where you became someone who knows what it's like to fail and get back up, to hurt and heal, to be broken and become whole again. That story, it's more true than the old one, more complete, more honest, and you get to tell it to yourself again and again until it becomes your truth. You take with you the commitment to live differently going forward, not because you're punishing yourself, not because you're trying to earn forgiveness, but because you've learned, because you've grown, because you have capacities now you didn't have then, because you can make choices now from wisdom rather than from wounds. This is living amends. This is how you honor what happened, not by suffering, but by being better, by showing up with more integrity, more awareness, more compassion, more of everything you wish you'd had then. You take with you the understanding that forgiveness is a practice, not a destination, not a one-time event, but a daily returning, a choice you make again and again. Some days it will feel easy, some days it will feel impossible, and both are okay. Both are part of the journey. What matters is that you keep choosing it, keep returning to it, keep treating yourself with the gentleness that makes growth possible. And perhaps, most importantly, you take with you the knowledge that you're not alone in this, that every human being who's ever lived has made mistakes, has carried guilt, has struggled with self-forgiveness. You're not uniquely bad. You're not specially unforgivable. You're just human, part of the human family, part of this beautiful, messy, imperfect species that learns by trying and failing and trying again. And that means you deserve the same compassion you'd offer any other human, the same forgiveness, the same grace. So as you prepare to move into even deeper rest, into sleep, into the healing that happens when you finally release conscious control, I want you to take all of this with you. Let it settle deep into your subconscious. Let it reorganize your relationship with yourself while you rest. Let it become part of how you understand yourself, how you hold yourself, how you move through the world. Tomorrow, you're going to wake up. And when you do, you might remember this time. You might think about these words. You might recall what it felt like to finally, gently begin to forgive yourself. And in that remembering, you can choose again. Choose compassion. Choose gentleness. Choose the understanding that you're allowed to be human, allowed to make mistakes, allowed to learn, allowed to grow, allowed to heal, allowed to move forward, allowed to be free. Some days it will be easy. You'll feel light, clear, at peace. Other days, the guilt will come back, the doubt, the harsh inner voice. And on those days, you just practice again. You return to the gentle voice. You remember who you really are. You choose forgiveness again, and again, and again, until eventually it becomes your default, your new way of being with yourself. This is your path now, not a perfect path, not a path without difficulty, but a path toward freedom, toward wholeness, toward the life you deserve to live. A life where you're not defined by your worst moment, where you're not imprisoned by your past, where you're free to grow and change and become, where you're held by your own compassion, where you're forgiven, where you're home. And you're on that path now. You've already started. You've already taken the most important steps, the steps of being willing, of questioning the harsh narrative, of considering that maybe, just maybe, you deserve gentleness. That's the beginning. And from here, everything else unfolds, not perfectly, not easily, but surely, step by step, breath by breath, choice by choice. You're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to heal. you're going to grow. You're going to become the person you're meant to become. Not despite the mistake, but including it, using it, letting it make you more compassionate, more wise, more human, more whole. That's the gift of self-forgiveness. That's what you're receiving tonight, and you deserve it. You really do. Not because you've earned it, not because you've suffered enough, but because you're human. And humans, beautiful, flawed, learning, growing humans. We all deserve the grace to forgive ourselves, to heal, to move forward, to live. This is your life, your one precious life, and you get to live it, really live it, not half alive with guilt, but fully alive with wisdom, with compassion, with the deep knowing that you're allowed to be imperfect, allowed to make mistakes, allowed to learn, allowed to change, allowed to be forgiven, allowed to be free. Rest in that knowing now. Let it hold you. Let it support you as you drift deeper into relaxation, into peace, into the sleep that will heal you, that will integrate everything you've learned, that will carry you into tomorrow a little lighter, a little freer, a little more at home in yourself. You've done beautiful work tonight, courageous work, important work, and now you get to rest, to let it all settle, to trust that the healing continues even while you sleep, to release into the peace you've earned, the peace you deserve, the peace that's been waiting for you all along. You're forgiven by yourself, and that changes everything. And now, we're moving into the gentlest part of our journey, the part where words begin to fade, where thinking becomes less important than feeling, where you start to drift. This is where we transition from waking to sleeping, from consciousness to dreams, from holding on to letting go completely. Your body knows what to do now. You've given it permission. You've released the guilt. You've opened your hands. And now, your whole system can finally, truly rest, can finally do what it's been longing to do. Sink, soften, surrender to sleep. Let your eyes be heavy now, if they're not already closed. So heavy, like they have gentle weights on them. There's no reason to keep them open. Nothing you need to see. Nothing you need to watch for. Just let them close. Or stay closed. Heavy. Resting. Darkness behind your eyelids. Soft. Safe. Comforting darkness. And your breath. It's slowing even more now. You might not even notice it happening. Your body is taking over. Breathing you. Without any effort from you. Deep. Slow. Rhythmic. Like waves on a shore. In and out. In and out. Each breath carrying you deeper. Deeper into peace. Deeper into rest. Your mind might still be trying to think. To hold on to the words. To stay present. But you can let that go too. You don't need to follow anymore. You don't need to understand. You can just drift. Let the words wash over you, like water, like a gentle stream, not grasping at meaning, not trying to remember, just letting the sound, the rhythm, the soft flow of it all carry you away. Imagine yourself being held now, held by the softest, warmest embrace. Maybe it's your own arms holding yourself. Maybe it's the arms of love itself, of compassion, of forgiveness. You're cradled, safe, completely supported. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hold yourself together. You can just melt into the holding, into the safety, into the peace. And as you're held, you notice something, the guilt. It's not here anymore. Or if it is, it's so faint, so distant, like a memory of a memory. And in its place, there's just lightness, space, room to breathe, room to be. room to rest. The heaviness is lifted, and you're free. Feel yourself floating now, floating on the most peaceful water you've ever known. Warm, gentle, perfectly supporting your body. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to swim. You don't have to stay afloat. The water holds you completely, totally. You're safe. You're supported. You can just float. Just let go. Just be held. And as you float, you notice the sky above you. Soft colors. Maybe the deep purple and pink of dusk. Maybe the soft blue-black of night dotted with stars. Maybe nothing at all. Just soft, undefined color. And it's so beautiful, so peaceful. And you're floating beneath it, part of it, held by it, safe in it. The water rocks you gently, like being cradled, like being a baby again, rocked to sleep, so gently, so tenderly, back and forth, back and forth. Nothing to worry about, nothing to fear, just this gentle rocking, this soft movement, this peaceful drifting. And you're starting to notice you're not sure if you're awake or already dreaming. The line between them is blurring, getting softer, hazier. And that's perfect. That's exactly right. You're in that beautiful in-between place, that threshold, that doorway, and you can just let yourself drift through it. You forgave yourself tonight. You really did. You opened your heart to yourself. You chose compassion. You chose freedom. And now, that forgiveness is carrying you, holding you, wrapping around you like the softest blanket, like the warmest light. You're forgiven. You're free. You're at peace. And sleep. Sleep is here now. Right here. Waiting for you. Welcoming you. Ready to hold you through the night. Ready to heal you while you rest. Ready to integrate everything you've learned. Everything you've released. Everything you've become. There's nothing more you need to do. Nothing more you need to think about. Nothing more you need to figure out. Just this. Just floating. Just drifting. Just letting go. Your body is so heavy now. So relaxed. Starting with your feet. Completely heavy. Sinking. No tension anywhere. Your legs. Heavy. Relaxed. At peace. Your hips. Your belly. Your chest. All heavy. All soft. All sinking down into rest. Your arms are like weights beside you. Your hands completely open. Fingers soft. No holding. No gripping. Just releasing. Your shoulders have melted into the surface beneath you. Your neck is soft. Your head is heavy on your pillow. So heavy. So comfortable. So perfectly supported. And your face, all the tiny muscles in your face have let go. Your forehead is smooth. Your eyes are still. Your jaw is slack. Your tongue rests easily. Your whole face, peaceful, at rest, beautiful in its complete relaxation. 10. Feeling yourself sinking deeper, deeper into the soft surface beneath you, deeper into peace. 9. Letting go of the day, letting go of everything. Just this moment, just this breath, just this gentle drifting. 8. So relaxed now, so completely at ease. Nothing to do, nowhere to be, just resting. 7. Your mind getting quieter, thoughts becoming softer, like clouds passing through a gentle sky. Here, then gone. 6. Floating, drifting, somewhere between waking and sleeping, and it doesn't matter which. Both are peaceful, both are safe. 5. Deeper, feeling yourself going deeper, into softness, into darkness, into the warm embrace of sleep. 4. So heavy, so relaxed, barely aware of anything now, just this gentle feeling, this peaceful drifting. 3. Letting go completely of everything, just letting go. 2. Sleep is here now, right here, welcoming you, ready to hold you, ready to heal you, ready to carry you through the night. 1, drifting, floating, falling gently into sleep, into peace, into dreams. And you're forgiven, so forgiven, held by your own compassion, wrapped in grace, free. Sleep now. Just sleep. There's nothing more you need to do, nothing more you need to think about. Just sleep. You did so well, so well. And now you rest. Rest completely. Sleep deeply. And know, when morning comes, you'll wake forgiven. You'll wake free. Sleep. Beautiful soul. Sleep. We're in the deepest space now, the quietest place, where even whispers feel too loud, where everything is soft, where everything is peace, where you're wrapped, completely wrapped, in the gentlest forgiveness, the deepest compassion, the warmest love. You're floating in a space beyond space, a darkness that isn't dark but full of softness, full of light you can feel but not see. And you're dissolving into it, becoming part of it, no longer separate, no longer alone, just held. Imagine yourself now as pure light, soft, glowing, warm, and all around you, more light, gentle light, compassionate light, and you're merging with it, blending, becoming one with this infinite ocean of forgiveness, of grace, of peace. There's no guilt here, no shame, no harsh voices, just love, just acceptance, just the truth of what you really are beneath all the stories, beneath all the mistakes, beneath all the fear, pure, whole, forgiven, free. And as you float in this light, you feel it healing you, entering every cell, every memory, every wounded place, soft golden light, flowing through you, dissolving what needs to dissolve, healing what needs to heal, making you whole again, making you new. The mistake you made is just a shadow now, so faint, so distant, like something that happened to someone else in another lifetime. And maybe it did. Maybe the person who made that mistake, they're gone now, transformed. And this you, this floating, peaceful, forgiven you're what remains. You're what's real. You're what's true. Breathe. If you remember to breathe, but you don't have to remember. Your body breathes you, so slow now, so gentle, barely breathing at all. Just the softest exchange of life, of peace, of surrender. 10, dissolving deeper into peace, into forgiveness, into love. 9, no thoughts now, just sensation, just floating, just being. 8, softer, everything softer, boundaries melting, edges gone. 7, you are forgiveness itself, you are peace itself, you are love itself. 6, deeper still, into the quietest place, the safest place, the home you never left. 5, melting, dissolving, becoming nothing, becoming everything. 4, sleep has you now, completely, totally. You're dreaming already, or maybe you never were awake. 3, so quiet, so still, so perfectly at peace. 2, forgiven, free, whole, home. 1, sleep, just sleep, forever sleep, peaceful sleep. You're held, you're forgiven, you're loved. Sleep.